और वहां से एक सेकेंड एक सीखी आता नहीं आता आ गए और अभी तो एक
Hello everyone, and today's target will be 3650. So in this position, we can see that we have this move and we can also take this. This is bad because he can play rook f1 and he's going to promote next. So here we have to play this. Now we promote. I think this, if we play f8 queen, then maybe he can play knight g8, and then we must see what to do after that. So f8 queen is like forced, and now we must see what to do. Black is threatening to play rook f1 and then d1 queen. So we must do something fast. We can play rook d4 because as after rook d4 there is knight f7 mate. So after rook d4 if he tries to go rook f1, then I can take and then d1, rook d1, rook d1 and then king e2. That is just winning. So I think rook d4 is the right move here. Take. And I will take this. In this position also we can see that his king is very weak and he has lots of hanging pieces. Like this is very weak. King is open, bishop is there, and queen can give any check. So in this position we can see that we have queen b2 check, and it looks like that we are winning this. So queen b2 looks like to be the best move in this position. And I think now we can just take this, because if we go something queen d5, I can go here. This is just winning. In this position also, black's king is very weak because both the bishops are looking over here. Our queen is also looking. And this g7 pawn looks very weak. This b7 bishop is also unprotected. And we see that we can play queen f7 with the idea of mate and also attacking this bishop. Queen f7 looks like to be the right move because any other move will not be so forcing and not winning. The queen f7 looks that we must play that. And now we can see that we can take this first and then we can take this. So take, now we can take this. So now he's threatening to play rook f2. And I think it is good to play e5. But maybe again rook f2 is there and king g3 to queen f4. So e5 is not good. King g3, maybe he can play queen e5. And then if I go king g2, maybe he can go king queen G5. Queen d5 also looks very interesting because queen d5, queen d5, rook f2, queen g3, and then queen d5, vd5, then I go rook e2, and then maybe I can play bishop. Maybe I can play there b6, because if you take this I can go b7. No, not b7, I can go d6. Okay, but then he has rook c8. That does not look so good. Queen e7 also looks interesting because after rook f2 I can take king g3. You cannot take rook e2 because queen e8 is a mate. So I think queen e7 is the right move. Now if he goes this, I can take this. So now he has given us a check, but is attacking our queen, but we can also just take this queen. And the only move is that we must take it. There is no other move. Now we must think what to do. We must also see that our bishop is also hanging. Like, not only this bishop is hanging, this bishop is also hanging. I think knight g3, king h2, knight f1. There are also one more interesting thing. Knight g3, king h2, rook f1. You cannot take this, I can take this. If you take this, I can go bishop f2. After knight g3, king h2, rook f1. If you take this, we can play bishop f2. With the idea of rook h1 mate. And then he has to play something like rook e1. We take, and then king g3, and I can take this. Rook e7. Knight g3. So that's wrong. Let's see. Let's see why knight g3 is wrong. Knight g3, he says that after king h2 and after rook f1, it says that. Oh, that's knight c5. I just completely did not see that. So here we must. rook f1, I think. In this position we have a passed pawn. It seems forced that we must play d7. Yeah, it seems forced that we must play d7. If we don't play that, then black will next move play rook d7 and then create some kind of a blockade. I think d7 we have to play. And now we must see that we have bishop h4 with the idea of trying to remove this rook. So we play bishop h4. And now we must see where to move this king. King d2 is bad because he can play rook e4 and after take he can play rook d7. So king d2 is bad. King d1 also the same thing. King f1 is good because after this also he can play this. In this position also we can see that he's given us a check and we must see where to move this king. Should we take this or should we play king c3? Both are looking good, but only one should be good. King c4, I think I like more because it also makes this knight unprotected. But after this, we must see what to do after knight b4. I think that we can take this cb4 and we can take. And then we are 2 minor pieces up. I think this should be good. And now I think it is good to take this. Because if we take this, then he is mating us with rook c2. We take, now we take this. And now we have 2 minor pieces. These 2 pawns are not so dangerous. So in this position, we see that if we take this rook a7, then our b6, b7 is also coming. And also, if we get knight e5 and some rook a8, mating ideas and winning the rook ideas are also there. I think rook a7 is almost kind of forced. Says it's wrong. Says that after king f8 the position is equal. I thought it was winning for white. So in this position also white's king is very weak. I think if we take this king g1, king g3, maybe have queen h4. Some waiting idea must be there. g5, like take king g3, queen h4, king f4, g5, king e5, knight d7, king d6. That must be a mate somehow. Yeah, queen g3 is also there. So at g4, king g1, then we can see that we have rook h1, take king g1, g3. And then we are mating. So this seems to be good. So, oops. It just went. Yeah, so we thought that we were going to take this, and then after king g1 we were going to play rook h1, and then king h1, queen h4, king g1, and then we were going to play g3. Now it is good to play rook h1 as it is very forcing. Now we take g3, and now we can just take this. Wait. In this position, we can see that the white's position is very good and black's king is very weak. And then after we see this position, we can see that if we had this something, then it would be a mate. But after queen g4 or queen g3, he's playing king f8. So after queen g3, king f8, queen b8, king e7. Then we see that we can take queen into a7. And then if he goes back, then we can take queen into b6. And then we are able to defend this g1 bishop. And then we have two minor pieces up. Like two minor pieces for a rook. That is very good for us. Queen g3 looks like to be the right move. When we take, this is winning because we take this and defend this. this position we can see that his queen is unprotected, and then so we see rook b8. But then we see that he can take this, and then rook b2, we play queen b7, we take, then he takes, and queen f3. That looks very unclear, but it looks very close to be winning. But rook b8 seems like to be the right move. Because it does not look like that we have any other move which seems is working. And we must see what to do here. We must take this or play something else. I think we should take it. And now we have two moves to win this bishop. Queen b3, queen f3, and we must choose what is the best. I think queen b3 is more better. This is smooth. Rook b8 to take, rook b2, rook b7, they take queen b3 it says, and this is also advantage, but it says that after king c6, queen c3, king d5, and it says that this position is very unclear. We have to play, I think, a6, f3. This position black's is very weak, and we have queen h5. We considered as the first move. But knight f6 should also be considered, as that also seems very good. So knight f6 he is not going to take queen f6 because bishop h7, king h8, bishop g6, king g8, rook h8, king h8, queen h 5 and queen h7 is a mate. So after knight f6, he has to take gf6. Then rook h8, king g7, rook h7, king g8. And then we see that we have queen h5. That looks like to be winning. And that seems winning. So queen h5, maybe he can also go king queen h6. Knight f6. Now we go bishop h7. I think in this position it is good to take this. Because when he takes this, then I can take this first. After this, I can do this. He's trying to play this next. And I can play bishop g4. So he has played rook d6. And it seems that he's just giving us a free rook. And we have no other move, so we take this. And now we must see what to do here. In this position, I think it is good to play this. Because when we gain material, it is also sometimes good to give it back. We want to save the position. So rook e5 is not going to take this. I can just take this. And just piece up. So rook e5. If he goes queen h3, I can do this. That seems to be winning viewers. Queen e6, I have queen f6. Rook e5 looks like to be the right. Says no, let's see why. Say that we can just take this. So rook e5 is bad. King f4. I go king h7. G4, g6, g3. And it says that it will be somehow winning. And now bishop f7 says that it's winning. So I have to just take this. D2 is forced, I think. D2 looks like D2 looks like it's forced. This was just very. In this position, I think 94 is forced. It is. Wait. This position also we can see that his queen has less squares and bishop could come here and take this rook. But mainly the queen is in a bad position. So we see rook b8 first. Then we see that he going queen a6. Then it seems like difficult to somehow trap this queen. Rook b8, queen a6. Rook b8, queen a6, and then it looks difficult to gain some material. But rook b8 seems to be forced. We also have something like knight a5 and bishop c6 ideas. And again after knight a5 is going queen a6. Bishop c8 we are not able to play. Rugby I think it's finished. Now we must think. Knight b4 was good so that I wanted to get this bishop here. Now I'm thinking whether to take this first or play bishop e5. Now I'm thinking to play rook a8 so that we have too much material up here. So today the target was 2650, but today we could only do 3627. So next time we'll do 3650.